Joe Biden, welcome to Fox and Friends.
It's good to be with you. Thanks, Brian.
Hey, you're welcome. Senator, you took in the speech, I'm sure, 40 minutes long. What did you think?
Well, I caught the last, my plane was in the air. When we landed, I got to the hotel and I caught the last half of the speech. I think she was impressive. The governor was impressive. She was strong, she was tough, and she delivered that speech extremely well. The thing that impressed me is equally as well is what she didn't talk about. She never mentioned the word health care. She never mentioned college tuition. She never mentioned anything about how they're going to create jobs. She never mentioned Afghanistan or Pakistan, where al-Qaeda lives. And so, but it was extremely well delivered, and she's impressive.
She did cover Iraq, and she said when it comes to Iraq, the surge worked. Senator John McCain was right, and Joe Biden was wrong.
Well, I think she's wrong about that. Look, we talked about shifting responsibility to the Iraqis, having a timetable to bring our troops home. Guess what? That's exactly what President Bush and Prime Minister Maliki are doing right now. We're about to receive an agreement, we're told, from the administration saying, quote, set a timetable, draw down American troops, hand it over to the Iraqis.
Isn't that called winning?
John McCain's the only one out of step on this one so far.
Isn't that
called winning?
Though,
It's exactly what I proposed.
So that means the surge
That's
worked.
exactly right. But John does. No, well, by the way, no one ever doubted the surge would work in terms of bringing down the violence in the country. The question was whether or not the surge would provide for a political settlement here. And still we have a real problem in terms of the political turmoil. You know, as every military person has said, this cannot be won militarily. It has to be done politically. And now what is the administration doing? Exactly what I've been proposing, exactly what Barack is proposing, shifting responsibility to the Iraqis, bringing our combat troops home. Well, John's the one saying,
you know better than anyone, that was part of the surge
timetable.
But I want to tell you, the timetable is called an egg strategy. There's now 5 attacks. It's incredible. There's been 5 attacks. They're down to a day when there was about 70 to 150 a day. It's a story in which Harry Reid is wrong on because he said the war was lost last summer. That's for another time. Let's talk about your counterpart.
Well, I never said that.
And you're going to debate her.
By the way, I never said that. By the way, let's get something straight. Joe Biden never said that, ever said that. And number one. Now, about the debate, I think it's going to be a tough debate. I think she's going to be an incredibly skillful debater. I was impressed. And look, what I'm going to try to do in the debate is make the case about what I want to do and Barack Obama wants to do to dig us out of this hole we've been dug in the last 8 years at home and abroad. And look, it's not my style. I'm not going to attack her. I wouldn't attack anybody who is, in terms of their personalities or in terms of their character.
Senator, do you think that she's been treated fairly when it comes to the attacks on her family? Barack Obama was pretty direct in saying cut it out, and yet they're still coming flying forward from liberals who are supporting you guys.
Well, by the way, nothing's coming out of our campaign, period, of criticizing her. And it is off limits to talk about her family. I thought, you look at that family out there she brought out last night. It was a beautiful family. And look, every single family in America, I don't care whether you're rich or poor, black or white or Asian, every family has difficulty as they're raising their children. And I think the way she's handled it has been absolutely exemplary. So I really do think it's off base. And this is not just political stuff. We don't say things and then do something else. The fact of the matter is, it is off base, and I think she has a fine family. It's obvious looking at it.
Would you, right, Senator, as you do, Senator, would you also say some of the attacks of her have been flat out sexist?
Yeah, by you guys in the media, not you personally. But you editorially. When I heard that media response, you know, this coming from some of the right-wing guys saying that, well, how can you be a mother and a vice president at the same time? Come on, look at my wife. My wife got her doctorate degree, 2 master's degrees, while working full-time, raising 3 kids. I mean, millions of women in America are going through exactly what she was doing. And guess what? They can handle it. They were right. Ginger Rogers is better than Fred Astaire because she did everything the same as he did, backwards and high heels. And I tell you what, I think that is sexist to imply a woman is incapable of being a mother and being a great leader.
Senator, I can appreciate that, and a lot of people agree with you. And finally, I just say there's another report out today, and I'd like to hear from you, that if you guys are elected, that you and Senator Barack Obama, you're actually going to pursue criminal charges against President Bush's administration and different people that serve there?
That's not true, and I don't know where that report's coming from. What is true is the United States Congress is trying to preserve records on questions that relate to whether or not the law has been violated by anyone. Any administration would, anybody should be doing that. And if it turns out after the fact that there is substantial evidence that somebody violated the law, the fact they're no longer in office, and no one's talking about President Bush. I've never heard anybody mention President Bush in that context, but there's been an awful lot of unsavory stuff that's gone on, and the mere fact that it occurred in a previous administration doesn't mean Justice Department, if in fact there's evidence, shouldn't pursue them. But I have no evidence of any of that. No one's talking
but you would
about
look into that.
President
You would look
Bush
into different
criminally.
President Bush in particular. But you would look into different people that have served.
No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying it's being looked into now. If you notice, you have the various committees in the United States Senate seeking records that were, in fact, so they're not destroyed, about whether or not this whole thing about the way U.S. attorneys were treated, whether anybody perjured themselves and lied about it, just so it never happens again in any other administration. Now, if, in fact, we're presented with evidence that something has occurred, then the Justice Department have to pursue. But no, there is no the Obama-Biden administration is not going to start off saying, God, let's go take a look at what this. The American people want to know what we're going to do, not what happened.
Right, and it was in The Guardian, just for the record, and that's a British newspaper, The Telegraph. Okay. And also, Senator Biden, congratulations on the nomination. Good. And I know it's going to be an exciting month for you and your family.
Thank you, man.
And I hope to catch up with you again.
I look forward to it.
Brian.
Thanks an awful lot.
Yep. Appreciate it.
You bet.
We learned a lot more about Sarah Palin last night during her big speech at the RNC. This morning, we are learning even more from a very good friend of the governor's.
Joining us right now live from